Dylan's going to be mad that he's not here because we're talking about Tua Tagovailoa. Has he proven himself with a 7-game win streak? And is he an RPO master like we've seen Patrick Mahomes do? I really don't know. No one?
You guys know I don't think Tua's a necessarily talented quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't completely disagree, but I also... He's got the talent. Like, he's good.
I mean, he's an NFL quarterback. Yes. He's an NFL quarterback talent,
but for an NFL quarterback, I don't think he's not talented, but I don't think he's superbly talented. I don't think he's very talented. So what do you think? Has he proven himself? The Dolphins are on a 7-game. They're on a 7-game win streak. We'll give him credit for that. But is Tua proven that he deserves a couple more years with the Dolphins? Has he proven that he's their franchise?
I think he definitely deserves a couple more years.
I think he's proven that he is a quarterback for the next year.
Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think he's like a quarterback that like, okay, now we're gonna give up on him. Especially considering the second half of the season, I think the Dolphins would come under a lot of fire for just saying, okay, we're done with you, Tua. I think he's still done good enough to kind of obviously keep his role, but he is. I feel like at the moment he's never gonna be like that quarterback that's like an elite guy that takes them to like the promised land. That some Dolphins fans are maybe saying, oh yeah, he's gonna be that guy. Give him time. But I feel like a lot of the things that he's been doing, that I feel like are quarterbacks that a lot of quarterbacks can do. Because I think obviously Tua hasn't had a great offensive line, but how much does that matter when you're getting the ball out, designed to get out the ball like in 1.5 seconds?
I think it will really hurt them once teams know how to play it.
Yeah.
Because right now it's working because they're like, wow, we have not seen this yet. We don't know what to do, and then eventually teams will just be like, what do we need safeties for?
Yeah.
Because there's no deep threat. Zero. I know Jalen Waddle could be used as a deep threat, but their offensive line won't protect Tua long enough, and they're just Tua is gonna miss half those throws. And Waddle will drop some of those throws. Like, it's just going to be... Maybe he's not missing, but it'll be good coverage enough of the time. You've got to trust your number one corner most of the time in a one-on-one. So, it really just... It means that teams don't need to play too high. You can stick one guy up there, and then you can stack the box with smaller players that can get out and tackle. You don't really need to worry about the run game. There is one thing that you need to worry about when playing the Dolphins right now, and that's their short passing game. You can go out with 6 secondary members on the field against the Dolphins right now. You can play 3 linemen because they'll have no time stopping the run, no trouble stopping the run because of the weak Dolphins offensive line, especially if they're decent. Then you play 2 middle linebackers, and you can send some pressure, you can send no pressure, and then you have 6 corners, 6 defensive backs out there where now they just can't make those short passes and they're all pressing off the line. 2 high safeties, and then you've got 4 corners pressing at the line. You don't really need to worry now. And teams will get used to it. Teams will game plan against it. There are some really good coaches in the NFL. There are some really good coaches who will be able to eat the Dolphins' offense alive, especially with a team that hasn't showed that much talent.
Even in this streak, let's see who the Dolphins really actually have beaten during this win streak. They beat Houston, the faltering Baltimore Ravens, the Jets.
That's an impressive one. I don't want to say the faltering Baltimore Ravens. That's what started the faltering.
Fair enough. The Jets, the Panthers, the Giants, the Jets.
Giants are really good.
And the Jets. So basically you got
one good team in there.
One good team, and then the rest are, I'd say, bottom feeders.
They're bottom 5, bottom 6 in the NFL.
7 wins is 7 wins, however you take it. Winning 7 games in a row.
In the NFL, it's impressive. But
especially starting off how they started.
But context is still very important, because obviously he's done this against, I'd say, almost all of these teams. Even the Ravens aren't none of these are elite defenses. Especially not Houston, especially not the Jets. I guess maybe the Panthers, but their defense has fallen off a bit recently.
It's fallen off a lot. And ever since J.C. Horn's injury, they just haven't looked as good.
Yeah, right. I mean, they had so many. Yeah, my problem with Tua, we have a Dolphins fan on the channel. Dylan, unfortunately, is not here because he lives in a different town, so it's hard to commute. But my problem with Tua, and I know everyone's like, "Oh my God, you can't say this." He doesn't have a standout trait. He doesn't have a trait where I'm like, okay, have this, develop this. He will go on and produce. To me, Tua, like you said, this is what I've said. I think Tua could be a franchise quarterback. I don't think he'll be a elite franchise quarterback. I think he'll be someone who
takes you to playoffs
you'll hit
year
playoffs
after year after year.
Maybe if you
but
have really good
doesn't go.
surrounding, support, you can probably go and maybe make a Super Bowl run. But Tua's not going to be that kind of guy. And to me, he looks like, Jimmy G, but a little bit worse. I think Tua, to me, again, it's those short passes. You look at the air yards. Most of his passes are off 2-3 yard passes. And then to me, looking at the stats, last year, that was the year everyone's like, oh, Tua is not very good. Obviously, injuries came in late. Or not injuries, came in late. You look at the stats. Completion percentage, good. That's his standout trait. 64%, 69%. But you look at the yards. He's played more. I think he's played more games this season than he did last season. I might be wrong.
But with the standout trait, Dylan would argue that his standout trait is his brain
and his accuracy. But I think to me, you need to be a smart quarterback and an accurate quarterback unless you're Drew.
I think he's.
But it's worked for Tom Brady. Obviously, Tom Brady's on another level, but Tom Brady doesn't have the elite arm strength of Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. He does not have the accuracy of other quarterbacks. He's amazing. There's no doubt about it. But there's no one thing that he's much better at. And you can find other quarterbacks in the NFL that have looked good that have that same thing. It's just how it is. Quarterbacks can play well without one standout trait, and that's why I don't like that argument. And I just think with the knowledge Tua has, I know everybody has to have the knowledge, but I think some quarterbacks just have it on a little bit of a deeper level. I don't know that Tua does, but that's what I think Dylan would argue as a standout trait.
I think, to me, this is a really weird take. This is probably not going to make any sense. I feel like being a lefty is a disadvantage.
No, I think that's actually a fair point.
I think being a lefty is a disadvantage.
Actually, it has its advantages and has its disadvantages. Because disadvantage is that your top quarterback from a righty standpoint, because almost all the quarterbacks are righties. So you have a different blind side, different way you see the field. I think you almost scan the field differently. I feel like because maybe you go from, I don't know. Again, this could easily. I think it could still. I think being a lefty almost changes your standpoint. Also, maybe this is just me, and maybe it is because it's Tua. But I feel like also lefties, is it just because they have not a strong arm?
Yeah, I don't know. This might be
there just aren't as many lefty quarterbacks in the NFL.
That's true.
So we don't see it.
Why? But at the same time, I just feel like, I guess maybe, Michael Vick. That's probably the quarterback I can think of that has a strong arm. That's a lefty. Obviously we haven't seen many lefties, but I don't know. I'm not very, very.
Steve Young.
Yeah, I guess Steve Young.
Yeah.
How strong of an arm did he have?
I couldn't tell you. I didn't watch Steve Young play.
Oh, back in the old days, I watched Steve Young play. He would have torn it up in this.
Tim Tebow, what a quarterback! Yeah. But Tua Tagovailoa is actually the only present quarterback that is left-handed. So it's rare. I don't know if that makes it a disadvantage because it's rare, but whatever it is, it's a different look for the defense.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a different look for the offense. I'm going to preface this
now before Dolphins fans get mad because videos on Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins generally do very well. I don't know if there's some weird Dolphins fan base that's very.
Oh, Dolphins fan bases are
Dolphins fans are weird.
I am not saying Tua is bad because of the left arm. I'm simply posing the question of is it I don't
what
know
do you
why.
think also do you think it makes it harder for the Dolphins to game plan because he's a left-handed quarterback?
No, it's not only that. I just feel like it's a disadvantage.
Well, because of game plan, I think is the main reason it would be a disadvantage.
Yeah,
I don't think it's because he's lefties aren't as good as righties. I don't know because that's not it.
Yeah, that's not the main point.
But it's harder to game plan. It's the only thing that I can think of. Honestly.
And then going back to the stats, this season hasn't showed in. The last season, Tua was not aggressive enough. That's what I was saying. Tua needs to be more aggressive. He needs to push the ball downfield.
But I think they've almost kind of made him play
not
within his system.
Yeah,
play. And that's what a good coaching staff should do. They make him play to his strengths. His strengths are kind of intermediate, kind of taking what the defense gives them, and honestly, kind of reading that classic RPO thing. And it helps when you have receivers like Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki, who are just elite at creating separation and are just.
He hasn't been using Gesicki a lot recently, which I think is disappointing because he's a good player.
He's a great player, Mike Gesicki. I think he's arguably
top 5 tight end. I think it's hard because he's got to break into that. It's Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, Andrews. Can Gesicki break into that number 5? I think, in my opinion, I'd have to go through all the tight ends. I'm definitely forgetting. I think Gronk is my number 5 right now. But Gesicki's definitely top 10.
Has Gronk been playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's been injured a few times this season, I think. But
yeah, is that anybody more to say on Tua?
I haven't been able to finish the stats to me.
Okay, stats.
It doesn't show great improvement. Yards wise, it only shows he's been playing more games. That's the only thing yards shows me. It hasn't shown he has 3 more touchdowns than last year, 3 more interceptions than last year. The only thing that's basically improved is the completion percentage a little bit, which I think is only because he's been throwing very
they're game
safe
planning
passes, and his passer rating has gone up. So to me, again, I think this would be a whole different situation if there was a Trevor Lawrence like guy, or if there was.
Oh wait,
some,
Trevor Lawrence. What am I? Okay, yeah.
If
wait,
what?
Wait, I'm never mind.
Yeah.
I always, for some reason, just think that Trevor Lawrence is left-handed. I
Really?
don't know why. I've just always had the impression that he's left-handed for the past 4 years, but I know he's not. So I just like, oh, Trevor Lawrence, he's left-handed. Nope, no, he's definitely not. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And I think, so to me, the stats don't show. And again, the playing wise either. And again, it's like, oh, he's playing really well. And then he throws 2 interceptions against a Jets defense. That's, again, I love this word, bereft of talent. And just simply just good players, I think, at the end of the day for the Jets. So I think that's been a big reason why they haven't been playing well. I mean, I think, again, final verdict on Tua, what's the, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it's hard to tell, because I think Tua came to the league and Tua came to the league and I can't remember what my first impression was on him. I don't know. It was young freshman Kean who recorded on his little desk and didn't really know much about football. I think I liked him. I don't remember particularly disliking him, but then it was that, he started to come to the league, and I don't really like Dylan. No, excuse me, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we just don't really
I'm joking. Me and Dylan have very opposing football opinions generally, so then it kind of rubbed off a little bit like that. But I think Tua, to me, it was big. I used to be like, get him out, and I think it was a little bit premature. But now I think give him another year. And again, maybe he could be a franchise guy, but like we've said, not an elite franchise quarterback.